Let's talk about the 200 IM. The 200 IM had a few storylines in here. Of course, Michael Andrew. Michael Andrew. Michael Andrew. What are we going to say about Michael Andrew? Well, he has an incredible first 150 meters. We know that. I don't think that's anything new, but there's two segments of the race for him. The first 150 and then the last 50. And so when you look at, I've done this before on this analysis. Let's look at how Ryan Lochte broke the world record. Michael Phelps split it very similar. Michael Phelps, I believe his best time is a 154.23, something like that. Someone can fact check me, but besides the point, Lochte was 24.8, 53.4, 126, and then he came back in a 27 to finish things off, right? Keep in mind that 27. Now let's take a look at Michael Andrew, who came in fifth. How did he split it? He had the lead. He was out in a 24.2, 30 point on the backstroke. He's been faster on the backstroke. He destroyed the field on the breaststroke with that 32.1, but then he split a 30.7. 30.7. Let's take a look at the winner and give credit where it's due. 155.0, the swimmer from China, Shun Wang. This guy was so excited, so pumped up about this. I really enjoy seeing an athlete. Like, when an athlete gets emotional, you get emotional. You can feel the energy. If they start crying, you start crying. If they're pumped up, you're pumped up. If they are pissed off, you wonder why they're pissed off because they're at the Olympics and they just won a medal. But in any case, Shun Wang from China, look at his splits. Okay, let's give credit where it's due. Okay, great reaction time, off the block fast. Out in 24.7. Look at that world record split. 24.8. He was under the world record split. He was a 29.0 on the backstroke. Breaststroke not as strong as our boy wonder here who fly and die. But then he came back in a 27.3, and that's what counts. Now, Duncan Scott, I'm very impressed with Duncan Scott right here, who came in silver. Look at from Great Britain. I mean, we saw him in the 200 free. Great to see that versatility. Not as much speed on the fly. Solid back, solid breast, and of course, a very, very solid last 50. Just wasn't enough. I mean, these are great times. I'm actually very, very happy seeing, the 155.0, 155.2. It kind of falls off pretty quick, though, after that. But let me know what you guys think about this 200 IM. Andrew Tiers. I think he should focus on sprint events for the next Olympics. I was talking to someone before we went live here. It's very difficult to be good at the 200 IM and the 50-meter freestyle. If you look at any of the top swimmers in the 50 free, anyone who can go 21 anything, right, in the 50 freestyle, they can't swim the 200 IM. If you put them in the 200 IM, outside of Caleb Dressel can swim the 200 IM. We haven't seen him do it long course, but he could probably put it together. Most athletes cannot do the 200 IM, the 50 freestyle. These are two very different events, and we see Michael Andrew trying to do both. So I think in the future we're going to see, hopefully, a little bit more specificity. He's going to decide, I'm going to go for IM, or I'm going to try and be a good sprinter and go after the 50 free and 100 fly and 100 free. Because I think it's very difficult to do all that, and it's showing here. No, I think he over-tapered. That's what I think. He went fast in trials. What do you think happened? That's what I think happened. I think he's over-tapered for these Olympics. He peaked at the trials, and so the results here aren't showing anything special. A lot of people talking about Michael Andrew here in the comments. Yeah, it's so difficult to live up to like the expectation because we as fans, we want to see the athletes go a best time every single time they touch the water. We want to see a best time. And the reality is it's very difficult to peak at trials and then have like that second taper and do some magic at the Olympics when it really matters the most. But if you don't peak enough in trials, you're not going to make the Olympic team, and you're never going to go to the Olympics. And then you didn't even fully taper, and you never get a shot. Michael, don't control his free Ferris. You were right last night, but we all had hope. Yeah, I didn't think. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the expression is what it is. You learn from this, you move on. Scott looked kind of disappointed. Yeah, we're talking about Duncan Scott here. So he came in second. I think he was the favorite because this swimmer from China kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I was not paying attention. And then we can't forget about Daisetto, right? This is the Japanese boy wonder 400 IM superstar who didn't make it in the 400 IM or the 200 fly. Or, this was his shot to represent China at these, not China, Japan at this Olympics. And let's take a look at his splits. Out very fast on the reaction time, decent fly, decent, he had a great breaststroke split, but he fell off at the end. He didn't have enough gas. We saw the Chinese and the Great Britain swimmer really charge at the end with those 27 splits. We couldn't see it from Daisetto, which is, again, it is what it is, and that's all he had, and that's the best he could do. But, we shouldn't be too critical on some of these athletes because they're doing everything they can. They are really pushing themselves to the limit. They don't want to, disappoint, themselves. They have their own expectations. They're representing their country. And also the fans, right? We put expectations on these athletes. So it's very difficult to be in that situation at any level.